A+ലേക്കുള്ള വഴി ഇനി തനിയെ തുറക്കാം. Subscribe to the ENCLAPS channel. Ring the bell button and open success. It's that easy.
Hi. We have studied different type of transformers and transformer equations. So, let's see some mathematical problems related to transformers. One thing you should keep in mind. There is a specific strategy to solve each question. Read the question carefully more than one times and understand which are the variables given in there and which variable is asked in the question. Write down them carefully and write appropriate equation which gives the required information. Let's look at the first question. In a transformer, there are 200 turns in the primary and 600 in the secondary. If the input is 6 ampere, 300 volt, what do you know about the output? In this problem, we have to find out the output of secondary voltage and current. For that, we are given the number of turns in primary coil, that is NP is equal to 200. Number of turns in secondary coil, NS is equal to 600. Input current IP is equal to 6 ampere. And voltage in primary Vp is equal to 300 volt. We have the equation Ns divided by Np is equal to Vs divided by Vp. That is 600 divided by 200 is equal to Vs divided by 300. So, we get 3 is equal to Vs divided by 300. So, the voltage in secondary Vs is equal to 3 into 300 which is equal to 900 volt. Now, we need to find out the current in secondary. We can use the equation Vs into Is is equal to Vp into Ip. That is 900 into Is is equal to 300 into 6. So, the current in secondary Is is 300 into 6 whole divided by 900 which is equal to 2 ampere. So, let's move on to the next question. In a transformer, there are 300 turns in the primary and 150 in the secondary. If the output is 3 ampere 200 volt, what is the output? In this problem, we have to find out the secondary voltage and current. For that, we are given number of turns in the primary, that is NP is equal to 300. Number of turns in the secondary coil, that is Ns is equal to 150. And input current Ip is equal to 3 ampere and input voltage Vp is equal to 200 volt. We have the equation Ns divided by Np is equal to Vs divided by Vp. That is 150 divided by 300 is equal to Vs divided by 200. So, 300 into Vs is equal to 200 into 150. So, we get Vs is equal to 200 into 150 whole divided by 300 which is equal to 100 volt. So, we got the voltage in the secondary as 100 volt. Now, we have to find the current in secondary. For that, we can use the relation Vs into Is is equal to Vp into Ip. That is 100 into Is is equal to 200 into 3. Is is equal to 200 into 3 whole divided by 100 which is equal to 6 ampere. So, we got the current in secondary is equal to 6 ampere. So, let's go to the next question. The input of a transformer has 400 volt and output has 200 volt. If the number of turns in the primary is 6000, what is the number of turns in the secondary? In this problem, we have to find out the total number of turns in the secondary coil. We have given number of turns in primary Np is equal to 6000, voltage in primary Vp is equal to 400 volt, the voltage in secondary which is Vs is equal to 200 volt. Here we can see the relation Ns divided by Np is equal to Vs divided by Vp. That is Ns divided by 6000 is equal to 200 divided by 400. So, 400 into Ns is equal to 200 into 6000 which gives Ns is equal to 200 into 6000 whole divided by 400. So, the total number of turns in the secondary is found out to be 3000. Let's go to another question. The input of a transformer has 200 volt and the output has 100 volts. If the number of turns in the secondary is 800, what is the number of turns in the primary? In this problem, we have to find out the total number of turns in the primary coil. For that, we are given number of turns in secondary, Ns is equal to 800. Voltage in primary, Vp is equal to 200. Voltage in secondary, Vs is equal to 100 volt. To find out the number of turns in primary, we can use the relation Ns divided by Np is equal to Vs divided by Vp. That is, 800 divided by Np is equal to 100 divided by 200. That is, Np into 100 is equal to 800 into 200. So, Np is equal to 800 into 200 whole divided by 100, which gives the total number of turns in primary is found out to be 1600. Let's move to another question. In a transformer, Ns is to Np is equal to 3 is to 2. The primary voltage is 600 volt and the primary current is 3 ampere. Find the output. In this problem, we have to find out the output of secondary voltage and current. For that, we are given the ratio of the number of turns in primary and number of turns in secondary. That is 3 is to 2. So, we can simply write Ns and Np in terms of x. That is, number of turns in secondary, Ns is equal to 3x and number of turns in primary, Np is equal to 2x. And we are given voltage in primary, Vp is equal to 600 volt, current in primary, Ip is equal to 3 ampere. To find out the voltage in secondary, we can use the relation Ns divided by Np is equal to Vs divided by Vp. That is, 3x divided by 2x is equal to Vs divided by 600. That is, 3 by 2 is equal to Vs divided by 600. So, Vs into 2 is equal to 600 into 3. So, Vs is equal to 600 into 3 whole divided by 2, which gives 900 volt. So, the voltage in secondary is found out to be 900 volt. To find out the current in the secondary, we can use the relation Vs into Is is equal to Vp into Ip. That is, 900 into Is is equal to 600 into 3. So, Is is equal to 600 into 3 whole divided by 900, which is 1800 divided by 900, which is 2 ampere. So, the current in primary is found out to be 2 ampere. Let's move to another question. In a transformer, the input voltage is 60 volt and current is 3 ampere. Calculate the output power. So, in this problem, we have to calculate the power of the transformer in secondary. For that, we are given the power in the primary coil. Primary power Vp into Ip is equal to 60 into 3, which is equal to 180 watts. We know that in a transformer, the power in primary is equal to power in secondary. So, the power in secondary is also equal to 180 watts. So, let's move to another question. In a transformer, there are 250 turns in the primary and 350 in the secondary. If a 9 volt battery is connected to the primary, then what do you know about the output? We already studied that a transformer does not work in DC. Hence, the output voltage and current will be 0. So now, we have solved several problems related to transformer using transformer equations.
3 ലക്ഷത്തിലേറെ വരുന്ന ചോദ്യോത്തരങ്ങൾ ഏറ്റവും കുറഞ്ഞ ചിലവിൽ സ്വന്തമാക്കുവാൻ ഉടൻ തന്നെ ഡൗൺലോഡ് ചെയ്യൂ ENCLAPS the Learning App.